If you've been trying to become someone new from within, you're in the right place. Welcome to Your Colorful Path. This podcast brings you real proof of what's possible when you choose meditation, inner work, and self-belief. Because when you live only from the human lens, life can feel like an obstacle course. But when you align with the divine in you, life becomes a colorful path, guided, adventurous, and deeply aligned. I'm Charu, your host. Let's begin. Today's episode is a little different and very special because I'm sitting down with someone who isn't just a guest. She's a close friend, a mentor, and a guide who has been with me ever since I started my career as a jewelry designer in New York. Patricia Foster Klein. She was my first creative director in New York, a person who gave me my first real chance in the jewelry world in New York City. And she has always been this perfect mix of worlds: high fashion, bold, self-expression, color, creativity, but at the same time, a deeply intuitive, spiritual woman who actually listens to her inner knowing. And I have personally seen her walk the talk. How many people are there in your world like that, right? That's rare. What makes this conversation today so powerful is also that Patricia made a major reinvention at 50. And I find that exciting because so many women approaching 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever the number may be, they feel fear. What's going to happen to my body? How will I make it through? How will I be perceived? Is it too late to start over? Patricia, in my opinion, is living proof that you can rewrite that story. You can create a whole new identity. And honestly, knowing her, she's probably going to keep reinventing all the way to 200. So today, to Your Colorful Path, let's welcome Patricia Foster Klein. Patricia, welcome.
Hi. Oh my goodness. That was so amazing. Thank
It's
you.
true.
Thank you. I wore color for Colorful Path,
Yes,
although I probably would have it on anyway. So,
you would. Yes. Well, for those of us who are new to me, I am a professional jewelry designer and I own my own jewelry company, Divine Amuleto, which you can find at my links. But I'll cover the part about being a professional jewelry designer today because Patricia was one of the first people that got my foot in the door. She was leading this huge company in New York. Very, very cool. It was handling multiple brands. And Patricia was this amazing creative director and was one of my first interviews where I really got a shot to be an intern. And that story evolved into becoming an intern, becoming one of her team members. And what is really amazing is that everything that I learned in those initial years about fashion and color and styling was with the amazing team that I worked with, headed by Patricia. But Patricia, what I hold the most important to me is how you navigated this world, being really true to yourself. And I really feel like that was an important early education in styling and self-expression. I love that you don't just talk about what's cool. You've always told us to do what works for us. Do you still believe in that? What's your philosophy on self-expression? Let's start there.
100%. Yes. I think even more so as I've aged, I feel, and the fact that you see so much in the world in terms of now that social media, everything is about comparison, trying to look like whoever. I think it's more important than ever to honor your own style, your own expression, whatever that may be. There's no one like you. So why not embrace you?
Yes, absolutely. But how does that work in today's world? I feel like when a certain threshold in age is crossed, like you beautifully are in your 50s. And I feel like I've always heard other women talk about the 50s as sort of like the end of the cool life. But I've never seen you embody that at all. So what happened when you first turned 50? What shifted? Like not in terms of job title, because I know that you pivoted and we'll talk about it in detail, but what happened in the inner weather of Patricia once 50 was hit?
I don't know. I don't focus on age that much. I just like what I like. I buy what I like. I wear what I like. And I'm not so much about thinking about, is this age appropriate? To me, it's more about, do I feel good in this? Do I feel myself? For me, just because I'm a stylist, so it is important to me that there's a certain level of it being fresh or unique. So that's always going to be part of my barometer as I get dressed. But, that could be different for someone else. It could be for someone else, the barometer might be, am I going to be comfortable in this? Am I going to be comfortable, but am I still going to look put together? Whatever it is that your barometer is, to me, you should make that your goal. What does age really have to do with it? I think for so long, especially women, there's such a impossible level that we're held to in terms of, you have to look a certain way. Who makes those rules? You don't need to look any way except a way that you enjoy. There's so many people that talk about age, and I don't want to say that I think it's important to embrace your age, but at the same time, I'm not going to make it where it's going to stop me from expressing myself in a way that I like, because maybe it isn't appropriate for my age, but I don't care. I don't mean that in a rude way. It's just like, I just don't make it, I don't think about it.
Yeah. And you make an important point that the ideas and the myths, I would say, that exist in the world today about what women can wear, how can they dress, and at what age can they do what, are ultimately, if you click backwards, just rules that were made by somebody who was in a certain level of consciousness and made those rules and applied it. And what you're saying is you don't stick to those rules. And that's a conscious, very aware choice that you may have made that rule for yourself, but I don't have to stick to it and be limited by what that is. And I love that. I am figuring out, even in my early 40s, that I love the idea of seeing age as a gift, because it means that you're alive. And at 100
100%.
years old, people are making Netflix documentaries about centenarians in blue zones. Well, if age was not a gift, I don't think we would be chasing that goal. So I don't know what happens in this midlife stage where people get so bothered by aging.
Well, I think, especially women, we've been told we're not really of value anymore.
Yeah.
So, and you see it all the time. I see comments on social media, like younger people putting women down for looking a certain way. And, I feel like it's my duty to lead the way and show younger women that we don't have to drag women down for, not looking a certain way in their 50s that you expect. We can salute women for aging how they want. This whole idea of that term aging gracefully, it's sort of like a double-edged sword. It's sort of nice to say, but then it's also like, it's like, well, what does that mean?
Yes.
Gracefully. Does that mean that you're like quiet and, you're whatever, demure?
In a corner.
What? Yeah. And I kind of always had, an issue with that phrase.
I think the important point here is that let's not stick to these old world definitions that I believe most probably came from somebody who's not even a woman many times, like we see in
Sure.
women's health. A lot of the rules and the tests and everything is dictated by people that were doctors at the time. And maybe it was mostly men, and that's how it transpired. But I think it's important to say that women are not the leaders, the thought leaders for many of these rules. And now that's changing. So it's important who you listen to, which is kind of why it's cool that you have your platform where you talk all about self-expression and you never really talk about, well, this is age appropriate. And I love that, because looking
Right.
at you, that's your vibe. It's youthful, but it's not like a teenager or a 90-year-old. It's your expression of how you
Right.
feel about yourself.
And it's changed. I assume it's different than when I was 20. The size might be a little bigger or whatever because of, changing bodies. But yeah, I think you make a good point. It's not dressing to be a certain age. It's just dressing and wearing what I enjoy. I dress intuitively, like what I'm in the mood for type thing.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
I think being someone who loves fashion and loves art and loves culture. I'm very attuned to what's happening in, the world, sometimes without even knowing it. I just gravitate towards certain things. Yeah, sometimes I want to look high low, maybe some other time I want to be like ladylike, whatever. So when I say intuitively, it's like it's based on my mood. And I don't know, maybe because I'm a Gemini, my mood's always changing. So it's never like I feel like you can't really sort of define my style because it's forever changing. I don't know. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I 100% agree. And I think that question, I have always found it very limiting to describe your style, and it has to fit a certain word length and jargon. And I just felt like, well, that's how I feel on certain days, but I don't feel like this on other days. And so my style is different. So I do believe that some of these questions are very limiting about what's your style. But what do you think about the connection between how you express yourself in the world with your clothes and how you carry yourself and your energy? Like in your work in styling celebrities and styling a lot of people, what have you come up against when you introduce a new way of doing things? What are some of the beliefs that come up that are obstacles for people?
I work with a lot of people that are amazing and are very open to trying things. But I think a lot of women are concerned about certain body parts, like I don't want to wear something too tight because of, a big chest or whatever, like things like that. So I've learned, and I think that's important for me to listen to because that's an example of a way that you should be honoring that, because obviously if you don't feel comfortable in a certain shirt because of your chest, then you certainly shouldn't wear it. I would never force that. So there's things like that that come up. I work with a lot of women that are in their 40s and 50s. This is the main thing I hear. Every time someone says it to me, I say, yeah, you're not the first one who's told me that. They're like, I was once cool, and now I'm like in the suburbs, or I'm doing this, or, whatever it is they're now doing and pivoted into. And I feel like I've lost my style. I've lost my sense. And so I don't want to look like I did when I was in my 30s. I am older and I do have grown kids and I am in the suburbs, like all the reasons. I still want to look like I have it together and like I'm like modern. I don't want to look, for lack of a better word, like an old lady,
Mm-hmm.
that term that people use. I would say that's the majority of what they're looking for. It's like, how can I, go to my son's soccer game and look appropriate, but not like a schlub, like not schleppy.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
I still want to honor the fact that I do like fashion. Or again, maybe somebody listening to this is thinking, okay, well, this is not important, but I think it is important, especially as we age, that we feel good about who we are. And when we walk into a place and you feel good in what you're wearing, you're definitely going to behave differently. You're going to be more open to conversations. You're going to feel more confident. You're going to feel more comfortable in the space. So I think it's all connected.
100%. And it's funny, I was reading this study that was done, you believe it or not, in 1979 by this person called Ellen Langer. And I am paraphrasing here everything about the study, so please don't get mad at me. The study is
No.
there. It's from 1979. What she did actually was really cool. She took a bunch of people and put them in a 1 week retreat. And she made everything, the music, the magazines, the dressing, the conversation, all as if it was from 1959. And so she really created this immersive environment and
Oh, that's so
created,
cool.
yeah, and created two groups, right? So one that was the experimental group that was supposed to believe, behave, become as if it's 1959. And then she had the other group that was told to not think that it's 1959, but just be kind of nostalgic and think about it. And then they consolidated the results. And yes, it's not a peer-reviewed study from 1979, and I think her initial data is lost. But even just to read what her outcomes were was very interesting, that the experimental group that was told to believe, behave, become as if it was 1959 actually looked 20 years younger when they showed this audience to an entirely new audience and said, look at the control group, look at the experimental group, who exudes more youthfulness. And I think the results were like 70% of the people said that this group looks more like it's 20 years younger.
Wow.
And that was in
That's so interesting.
1979. And I think that's kind of what you're alluding to, that what you wear is, one, very important. You're honoring your own desire for self-expression, and that can never let you down, no matter what age you are. And two, that when you really understand that I don't like a certain area of my body highlighted, but I do like when I look this way, what you're doing is managing your energy and how you feel about yourself. And I think something very important that you said was, how you feel about yourself is the most important thing, because that is what tells other people how they're feeling. We all know the discomfort of tight outfits that we hated, right?
Right. Or something you're not, you don't really, that's either boring or something that you just, or maybe it's too exciting and you don't feel like, you feel like you're trying too hard, like whatever it is. There's so many, ways to look at it, but it's about how you feel in it. I'll always say to people, like, they'll be like, what do you think? And I'm like, it looks great, but what do you think? Like, how do you feel in it?
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's the secret. Yeah. I think it shows in how you carry yourself.
I really want to talk to you about this career pivot that you did, because you were living your best life as a creative director. You have been at the helm of many, many jewelry companies throughout your career, many, many years of working with big brands, Liz Claiborne, Miriam Haskell. I can't even count the number of
Kate
brands.
Spade, Kate Spade.
I mean, there are so
Blood,
many
sweat,
brands.
and Joan Rivers, blood, sweat, and tears.
Quite literally sometimes. But you've done all that. And then comes 50 and you really pivot from working in corporations and leading large teams and being the hands and the head behind many brands in American fashion, to then creating something of your own and going and charting your own path. Many people at 50 would feel like this is not the time to do this risky business and to be an entrepreneur. So what's your take? What is your learnings? If somebody is at that stage and wants to hear your story, would you share what went through to create this one, and how did you navigate, and what did people say, and how did you navigate that?
I think I walked out on Fifth Avenue that day. Full transparency, I was let go for financial reasons after working tremendously hard for several years at this last company. And I think I felt a mix of betrayal and exhaustion. I've just felt depleted. And I think with everything that was going on, specifically in the type of businesses that we were in, it just seemed like that whole model of, and I won't bore anybody in the audience, but this wholesale model, whatever. It's just the way, the places that we were working, and it still exists. So, 8 years later, it's not like it went away, but I think it changed in such a way that I just grew really tired of it. I feel like I lost my why, and I felt like I just was tired of, for 30 years answering to somebody else, missing certain things of my kids, whatever it was, because, I became someone who was in a role that was essential. And I think because I have a tendency to be, one, I'm a little bit of a people pleaser. It's very important to me that I work really hard and that I am someone who's doing a really good job.
Yeah.
Like if I take a job, it doesn't matter if it's cleaning the bathrooms or was heading up the design team. Like I am going to give you my all. Like
you will have the best bathroom. You
You
do
will
have
get
the
every.
best bathrooms. I can attest to that.
So at first I felt relieved, like I said, and then I just felt like, okay, well, maybe I'll just take a little time off. So I don't know that the plan was to pivot into an entrepreneurial thing, but then every time I thought about looking and going back to that world, I had like a very gut adverse reaction to it. Like it
Mm.
almost felt, it just felt like my soul felt so sad and tired. And I thought, what if I explore doing my own thing? You know, initially I started more just creating a page to share what I wear. People had always said, you know, even you wonderful women that I worked with, you know, you should share what you wear every day. And so it started more with that, and then me working with brands and what they would call now influencer, whatever. I hate that word, but you know, I say creative content, creating content for people. And, you know, it wasn't easy to be this age and entering that world and figuring out how to edit videos. And, you know, that world was crazy. And for years, like I posted every day and, you know, I learned all the ins and outs. And I'm proud that I did that. And I never let age, you know, define me in that arena. I just did it little by little. Of course, what didn't happen overnight. It was also, you know, was not easy. That became tiring too, because you know, even though I did well and I built an audience, I felt like I'm okay with doing this a little bit, but I want to work one on one with women. I love being with people.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was on my own a lot, and, you know, kind of felt that's just not me. Different people started asking me if I have this friend, Amy. I think people even asked me before her, but she was like a music manager, and she asked me if I would style her client, who was like a 20 something year old guy, for his tour. And I'm like, oh, well, at first I was about to say, I don't do that. I don't know how to do that. And then I had said that a couple times to other people. And then I was like, well, I mean, you don't go to school necessarily to become a stylist. Like, why
Yes.
am I saying I don't do that? Like, I just figured out how to be this content creator. I'm sure I can figure out how to be a stylist. And I said yes to this crazy job. And even though I had been doing, like I said, other things prior, like just working with people like on one-off things, helping them with an event or something, but this was like a whole summer of outfits. And it was a really tight budget. It was like, and it's just like, I do think sometimes you just have to jump in, figure it out. We're all smart, you know, we can figure it out. Everything's Googleable. Is that the word, Googleable? You can Google
Googleable.
everything.
Yeah. Yes.
You can ask people, you can call people. I was like, okay, this is it. I love this. Like, I love, because for me, it's the same as like creating jewelry. It's like having nothing, having a blank slate, and then creating these looks for these people, building their wardrobe, helping them with their vacation, helping them with you know, I just worked with an amazing woman this summer who got married for the second time, and, you know, working with her, collaborating. She's an amazing collaborator, and, you know, creating the look for the night before the wedding, the after party, and then like seeing her images. There's nothing better than seeing your work on a human being
Yeah.
who appreciates it.
I think I really resonate with what you said about seeing your work shine on somebody. And that's a really fulfilling moment. But the other thing that you said that I would like to just reiterate again, because it's so vital, that sometimes you just have to leap and the net will appear. You can't wait for the net, because had you not said yes to that leap, I don't know. Maybe you would have done it after a few more years, but it would have been the same result. And then I feel like in this way, you just gave yourself the opportunity to figure it out. Like you said, everything is figure outable. I don't know who said it,
Yeah.
but it's really,
Yeah, I really believe, and you know, I think I've said this to you. I've said it to our friend Danielle, like, just take one step, just take
yeah.
a step. You'll figure it out. But if you don't If you just keep saying, I don't know how, then you're going to be stuck in that position. And there's things I'm still figuring out. It's constant. I'll never forget when I had this huge summer before that, this incredible opportunity with TJ Maxx. And I think I was telling you, oh, well,
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know if I can do it. And it's like every single thing that they wanted me to do was what I did my whole career.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget this. I was with you and Danielle, another friend of ours, and you were like, "Are you kidding me?" It's like it's
Yeah.
what you did,
It's like your
creating it.
expertise. It's your zone
It's
of
like
genius.
like because I had to create, like the room with and dress, create the mood or whatever. But so sometimes I think the reason I bring that up is because sometimes, as confident as I can be, I have my doubts. I have my worries when it's something new. Something new is so scary, and we talk
Yeah.
ourselves out of it. Here I was with an opportunity that was like, it couldn't have matched my resume more,
Yeah.
exactly every single thing I know how to do. And I was telling you, I don't know if I can do it. And it's like we talk ourselves out of these things. We got to stop doing that because, like I said, you just got to take a step.
Yes. And if we talk ourselves out of situations, then is there a chance that we can talk ourselves into situations too? I think it depends on,
Ah,
right? It depends on
yeah.
like whether you will let fear tell you what not to do, or whether you will take your fear and let it be like, oh, I'm really scared about this. I wonder why. Or actually, I'll do it anyway and we'll see what the fear was talking about. In my case, I have to tell you, I have learned it the hard way that fear has a very sneaky way of getting to you, and it talks to you
Hmm.
in such good arguments. Like it should be your lawyer if anything happens to you because it will protect you, but it keeps you really small and it keeps you really shrunk, and it's not a good feeling. And when you do things despite the fear, it is really uncomfortable for maybe an extended period of time, but you have this quiet peace inside that I did the right thing.
To me, it's, at the end of the summer when I completed and had done a good job, there's no better feeling than like, what is the saying? Feel the fear, but do it anyway. Or,
Yes.
and I had, many doubts along the way as I was in the middle of that project. It was challenging. There was many different people that had to approve things. And I was just like, I don't know, and then I just said, no, you do know, you can do this, like you got to talk to yourself, just
Yeah.
go today and see what you find or whatever. But yeah, I agree. Fear is really debilitating. But like you said, you can flip it. It's just uncomfortable. It's like going to the dentist.
Yeah.
Your teeth, it's uncomfortable while he's in there, but when you like get out, your teeth feel so nice and clean.
Yes, that's a great example, actually. Also, that discomfort is okay. My personal relationship with discomfort has not been, I have not been friends with it. I'm still not friends with it. But I've learned to respect it. And I've learned to recognize that every time I'm really uncomfortable with something, it's two things. One, it's either my intuition guarding me against something, in which case, I've felt like the answer is very clear, like, no, danger. But many other times when I'm uncomfortable, I feel, and you tell me how it works out for you, I feel
Hmm.
like fear is talking me out of doing something that is very new. And if I'm able to choose in that moment to do exactly that, it's a breakthrough moment. And I
Mm.
realized how small I was going to be because I was going to make the same choice again. But if you recognize the fear and then you're like, well, I'm going to do it anyway, what is the worst that can happen? Like, let it be. Then it's a breakthrough moment. What's your experience?
Especially as an entrepreneur, like the technical stuff, certain things, I'm just like, oh, like I don't know how to do that. And it's just,
Yeah.
it's like that, feeling. And then I'm like, okay, well, start researching, start sitting down, like do the work. I think it's the grunt of it and it's the fear. It's like both things because it really stinks when you are trying to do something Like I'm trying right now to like build a website and whatever. And it's just that feeling of dread because you don't know where to start, or you don't know exactly what you want it to be. But you have to just one step at a time, like
Yes.
just start,
Yeah.
like just start looking for just like anything. It's like when we used to design stuff, like you have
Yeah.
a blank piece of paper, just
Yeah.
start looking for inspiration, putting down, like look for where you want to go next.
And you start with one small bit and you can then design the ecosystem around it.
What happens to most of us is, I'm going to use the website as an example. Like, so we're looking that it's all complete and done versus saying, and that feels so big. Like, how am I going to do that? Versus, meanwhile, side note, I have a husband that knows how to do that, but that's like shoemaker's child story. But it's more like, what if you just spent today? Because there's obviously, we always have, it's not the only thing we have to do. We have a lot of other things to do. I have clients, I have a lot of different things going on. But like, what if you just accomplished one thing towards that goal? That to me, when you do things, and that's how I sort of do everything in life, is it's like bite size versus that's how I do my closet. When I'm like, okay, today is sweatshirts, versus spending the whole day doing it. And you set a timer. I'm devoting an hour and a half to sweatshirts. I'm making it up.
Yeah.
You pull them all out. You try them on. Oh my God, I don't wear this. It's too long. It's too this. It's got holes. Like you make a donation pile. Yeah. And then just call it a day. You don't want to devote your whole day to arduous tasks.
Yeah.
So why not pick amount of time that you can devote to it and do it in a small bite portion?
I love that. I love that. That's like bite size. I
Bite
love that.
size, yeah, because so many people get, and I think it's true of everything. I'm just using the closet, but I think we get so overwhelmed when we're looking at the whole journey. Well, the whole journey is going to take, it's going to take more than one day. So you're like, you're just like, I can't do it because it's just too much. Well, of course you can't do it in a day. Like it would be like you saying, your jewelry brand. Like, I mean, how many days? Like, you just have to chip away.
Yeah. And you have to keep at it because I have to remind myself as an entrepreneur, I think every day that it's not really about the sale. It's not really about the numbers. It's really about this whole journey that you've taken to start this business. And it's also important, I think, to just keep telling yourself that it's also about the journey of becoming. Who am I becoming as this person that stepped into this role? It's not really about success or failure either, because many businesses have failed, but those people went on to do great things. Their next thing became like the most successful thing. But there are equally capable people that did the first thing. Uber is a great example, was not profitable
Hmm.
for the longest time. And yet it changed our world in exceptionally meaningful ways. And I'm always like, okay, if Uber on day one was like, I'm not profitable, or I'm not here and I'm not meeting my numbers, so I'm a dead idea, I don't know how our world
No,
would be.
I think that's such a great point. One of the things I do, I love like either reading books or watching documentaries, like, or, even movies where I think so many people that you see that are successful, you don't understand the hardships, the times they almost gave up, the failed businesses maybe they did have, and now this one's working. Like it's really, you got to put in the time. I don't think most people are overnight successes. I think some people have great luck in life and are in the right place at the right time. I do believe that that happens. I think most people that you see that are successful, it did not happen overnight. I think the people that hang in there and keep at it, like you have built something so amazing already. Like to
Thank
me, you're
you.
so inspiring. Like
Thank
it
you.
would be crazy if you stopped. You just have to
Yeah.
stay on it. It's
Yeah.
going to, I mean, it is already, but it's just going to keep getting better and better. It's a baby right now.
Yeah. And for
So,
people who don't know Patricia and I, or are new to us, and maybe you don't know about this, but Patricia is definitely one of my go to people that I go for professional, personal, all types of advice, not just because she's a highly intelligent and capable woman, but I think also because she's very grounded in reality and always able to say it like it is. And I love that about you, Patricia. I think that you don't believe in fluff and you say it like it is. And somehow while doing all of this, you have this ability to be a really authentic cheerleader. And I don't know how you have you always been like that? Because I've seen you do it with numerous women in our career, whether they worked with you or not, whether it was a client, whether it was just somebody at Macy's and their team. I have seen you build people up. And I think that there is a philosophy there. And it's rare to find in women, especially in the world of fashion. I want to ask you this deeply personal question. What formed you this way? Were you always like this, or did you actively pursue to be like this?
First of all, thank you. That's the highest compliment.
You
It's
deserve it.
something it's something I pride myself on. I'm from a home that I was raised with four other sisters and a very strong mother. Being in community with women perhaps helped. We're very incredibly supportive of one another.
You have
Tell
five
you
sisters?
four. So
Four
there's five
sisters.
girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so many women that I talk to say, I cannot believe the way you like my sisters. It's just never jealousy. It's never, I mean, you have sisters too. So I think, that could be part of it. It's always been about like, we're just so happy for each other with whatever we're doing. And we're protective of one another. Like you mess with one of us, we're like ready to like, who is it? I'll go to their house. And our mother too. We're very protective of our mother because she's an amazing woman. I think probably what happened is I had some experiences with women that did not treat me like that. Going up in the business world, I had some really bad experiences. I think I just always felt like if you're, I think when I became a person in a position as a leader, it was like, well, if we're going to spend so much time together during the day, and I know you're saying you saw it other places, but I just wanted to be someone who lifted women up and
Yeah.
supported and tried to give them advice. I think I've lived certain things because I was always older. So when you have a woman coming to you and telling you're like, no, 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 don't do that, and it's not because you know better, it's because you've lived it.
Yes.
And you're kind of trying to save them. I try to do that with my daughter. She called me about a situation the other day and I just like gave it to her straight. No, you shouldn't do this because it's going to be whatever and blah, blah, blah. And, I felt good because she was like, you're right, and she took it in. But it's not because I'm smarter than her. It's just like I've been where she is.
Yeah.
So I think it's sort of I don't know, maybe it's just me. You had seen me because I was always the elder. So it just comes from a place of experience, right? Of
Well,
trying.
there were plenty of women that were older than me that did not treat me the way you did. So I understand what you're saying, but I think you're underestimating your very conscious choice to not treat people the way you could, the way people get into these high positions of power and impact. And I think it's a conscious choice. And I do want to recommend people that they look at your career, and in the show notes, we will write down all that Patricia has done and see that being at the head of these companies was never an easy job, and there were large teams and multiple moving parts and lots of emotions to manage because we were in a creative job and you're managing creatives. And I think you did it wonderfully because you always balanced guidance with independence, with emotions, and not treating people like robots and slaves, but treating them as friends and people with equal caliber. And I think that that speaks highly about you. The only other thing that I lost when you were talking was something beautiful that you had said. I really want to bring it out. And it was about women that are older than us being in our close friend circle. I've never thought about it until you said it, but I actually do have a lot of these cool kick-ass women that are maybe a few years older than me, and they are really my guidance system. And it's not because they are, I don't know, like oracles or something, but I do believe that
Right.
they are steps ahead in life. And if I can learn from them and really get a realistic picture of what's happening, then it has always benefited me. But more than that, I think it's really nurturing and kind of cool to have older women friendships, because you're not just limited by the stories that your generation, so to speak, is having. I think it would actually be great if we can have friends from the 50s and friends from the 20s, and then we're in the 40s, for example. For me, I am
Hmm.
actually thinking that that's a great idea to
Yeah,
actively engage that.
for sure. I think, and I think it's important for me to have friends that are in their 20s,
Yeah.
30, like just as important for me to spend time with younger people. Sometimes we make so much of aging, like, or that you have to be with people your own age. Um,
Another one.
but what I wanted to add about the work thing is that I guess I just always felt like I want to treat people the way I want to be treated. I think so many times people, when they get in certain positions, they lose that and they
Yeah.
forget where they came from. So I think that's probably what it was about too.
Well, that's why it's beautiful, because it was consciously chosen. We can be built a certain way, and your close ties with the matriarchy, so to speak, in your close family has had a great impact, of course. But it was also a very conscious choice to be a certain way and to bring a certain energy and vibe to the workplace. And 15, 16 years later, you and I are sitting here recording a podcast. And I was just an intern 16 years ago. And now I count
Oh
myself
my God.
easily as one of your close friends. I've
Of
just planted
course.
myself there.
You're 100% a cherish, dear friend. Yeah, and I have to say that the way I treated my team was frowned upon.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember that, and that was at various
Yes.
companies. There would be, because I was always found out everybody's birthday and made sure to make it a big thing,
Yes.
because who wants to be work on their birthday.
Oh my
And
God. I have to just interrupt you and tell people that when Patricia celebrated our birthday, it was like the most special thing to receive. I still have all my photos of my birthday flowers and a little something to eat. It was just, and my favorite part was the most beautiful cards that she would write. And she was a really busy woman. So to be able to do that and to remember that it was amazing to work with you, Patricia.
same, right back at you. Thank you. With everything, like just treat people kindly,
Yeah.
whether it's your team or someone on the subway, like people just want to be treated kindly.
Yeah.
Why not just be nice?
Absolutely. Well, if somebody is listening to this episode, is approaching 50s or in 50s or in 60s, and is just feeling like they want to also pivot and find a direction, is there something that you can say from your own experience that might help them?
Well, number one, you probably need to make sure that you have some type of security in place in terms of finances, right? Because we all need to pay our bills. But I would say that if you can leave what you're doing and take a couple months off or whatever, that's a highly privileged place to be. That would be an easier way to go at it. But even if you can't do that, let's say you have to stay in the job and you're going to have to do this at night. I think it goes back to thinking about what you're good at, what you enjoy, and what you can imagine yourself doing, and just start. And I do think that's easier said than done, because of what I hear from a lot of women is that, and I have women in my life who have never worked, who completely had, decided to stay home and give up their career. And now their kids are entering college and they're like, okay, well, what do there's that situation too. So I don't want to sort of dismiss the idea that, it's hard to figure out if you don't have certain skills. It's hard to figure out, well, what can I do? Right. But then I would go back to the whole just start. Like, let's say you like photography, like go take a course, take one step towards something you're thinking. And maybe you do take this photography class and you're like, oh no, I don't want to be a photographer. Okay. Like make a list of things you're good at, things you like. I would just say, don't expect it to happen overnight. You have to be kind and you have to be realistic that, this is 8 years, talking to someone 8 years like into and I can tell you there's been tears, there's been doubts, there's been days, what the hell am I doing? I just need to go get a job. I need to make more money. I'll just go back and do something else. I'll do something similar. I'll take a cut, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, you name it. I've been there. So I don't want to say I think it's easy, but I think you have to believe that every one of us has the ability to start again, to start new, to start fresh. There's not one person that doesn't have the ability. The people that don't have the ability are the people that are telling themselves they don't have the ability. I'm happy for anyone to DM me. I'll give them a pep talk. With you, you worked with a coach. You just have to attack it and be patient and be brave. Go for it.
Woo!
We got this one life.
Yes. We do have just this one life. I think that last sentence, if you could really live it, if I could really live it, like every choice right before fear has the microphone, if we could just be like, well, I do have only one life. So what is the worst that can happen if I did this? I think our decisions would change.
100%. And failure is good too.
Yeah.
I think we're so afraid of failing.
Yeah.
And failing is such an amazing teacher. And then it just helps you redirect. Just go for it.
Just go for it. That's it. That's it. Don't think, don't overthink, don't overanalyze.
Yes,
start somewhere,
yes.
Start small, and
analysis paralysis.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. All learnings on the path, and just keep going. And if you fail, it's okay. If you succeed, keep going.
Pick yourself back up, dust yourself off, and start again.
Yeah, absolutely. Start anew. And don't look at your age.
No. Oh my God. Age. I mean, I'll probably have another pivot. So.
Yes, you will. Since you're going to live to 200, I'm pretty positive that you will have a few pivots ahead of you.
Yeah, exactly. Longevity.
We'll be watching a Netflix documentary on Patricia Foster Klein, 200 years old, living in New York, and it's not even a centenarian blue zone, but somehow she managed it and pivoted multiple times.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
Amazing. All right. Well, I have to let you go, but not before you tell us all about where to find you, anybody who is interested in working with you, how can they find you, and shall they send you a DM?
I would say the best place is Instagram. That's really where I live. My page is called Backward in Heels. It's a homage to Ginger Rogers, who was a famous dancer in the 40s and had to dance backward in heels to Fred Astaire, a man. So it's sort of my salute to women that we are dancing backwards and in heels, but we're still doing it, and we're doing it incredibly. You can send me a message on there. Please follow. Please join the Backward in Heels gang. And
I love that story. It's such a good reminder.
Yeah, my sister Nancy told me it, and I think it's been spoken. It's been a phrase that they've used for women. There was like a woman in Texas who was governor, Ann Richards. I think they said it about her. She's doing it backwards in heels. I think they said it about Hillary Clinton. It's like something that's been used about, women being sort of in these roles and having to compete with men. but they're doing it backwards and in heels. It's kind of cool.
It is very cool. And so are you. And on that note, I just want to take a minute to really acknowledge you for making the time and bringing your beautiful, stylish, substanceful self to your colorful path. It is, to me, living proof that you exemplify that getting older means getting cooler and fitter and more fabulous. It does not in any way mean getting smaller and shrinking. But I love the new clarity you have around yourself. And actually you look and feel and sound a lot more alive. And that's an example of really walking the talk.
When we follow our colorful path, it's true. And I say that meaning, colorful path, meaning my passion of doing the styling and working on my own. It serves you in every part of your being, in terms of your health, in terms of your attitude, in terms of your energy. It all is connected to your well-being.
I love that addition of the colorful path. Because it is a colorful path.
Branding!
See, me. I got an expert here today.
Gotta do my branding.
Yeah, but it really is true. When I was coming up with the name, I really wanted it to be meaningful. And I felt like pivoting back from my life in 2020 and creating a new identity with spirituality, meditation, but lots of other pivots too, really made life into a colorful path. And the colors have changed and the tones can change. And that's fine as long as it stays colorful. And I think that's the whole idea behind your colorful path. If you live truly true to yourself and you really take life as it comes and embrace it, I think life becomes a colorful path.
Love that. And you are an exemplary example of someone who amazes me. And your whole story, which we don't have time for now, but everything you went through, and then just how you, with sheer force and tenacity and just the urge to become, and the courageousness you've shown, the bravery, and the can-do attitude. It's inspiring.
Thank you.
Know that just as much as I might inspire you, you truly inspire me.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. I receive it. I feel really nourished by it.
It's true. You're amazing.
Thank you. You're amazing too. We're going to let our listeners go because we can say this to each other forever. We are just soul sisters, always here for each other. And on that note, I hope you go and hug or message your soul sister. I hope that you find it in your heart to message those friends, those older women, younger women, all types of women, because women really get women. So get talking to them, sending them messages, telling them where you're at, reconnecting. That is a huge part I'm learning of feeling alive, staying young is community.
100% women. We have to support our women.
Yes.
We need each other.
Yes. And we love each other.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for joining in today. This is the episode with Patricia Klein. All the links are in the show notes. So please check it out and reach out to Patricia, reach out to me, send us your comments, what spoke to you from this episode. I would love to hear from you. And until next time, keep finding and following your colorful path. Thank you. If this episode resonated, share it and be the reason someone chooses growth today. You can watch the video episodes on YouTube or audio episodes anywhere you get your podcast. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave me a colorful comment. If you have follow-up questions or topics you would like me to explore, please visit me on divineamuleto.com. Link is in the show notes. As always, thank you for being here with me. Until next time, keep choosing your colorful path.